Thank you for staying with us, and we continue with that conversation about the outage at Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram. We're now joined by SABC News Digital Senior News Producer Busi Radebe. Very good morning to you, Busi. Just to give us a sense of traffic on the SABC News social media platforms with regard to this global event.
Good morning, Desiree. Yes, certainly this outage had a major impact on the digital news, SABC digital news platforms, because we utilize Facebook, we utilize Instagram, YouTube and Twitter. So with the outages affecting the WhatsApp, the Facebook and Instagram, we were then able to utilize the Twitter account very well, and also the YouTube account. And also Twitter saw itself being flooded yesterday, as people went onto Twitter because that was working, and other messenger apps that were utilized, such as Signal and Telegram. So it really did affect production, but we continued as per mandate. And you see tweets, people saying, congratulations, Twitter, you made it to the next round. Because Desiree, there were conspiracy theories circulating around social media that this was an internet shutdown, or a global shutdown, something's happening, and a lot of people different mixed reactions from the users of social media and people that were affected by this outage.
So taking those conspiracy theories into account, what has been the response to the account by Zuckerberg that it was a domain configuration problem? Are people believing this?
Some people are believing it. Some people are saying, it's normal for social media apps to not function for a while, with configuration issues and settings. To see that actually people are more towards believing him is because when this actually started, people thought it was their network or it was their Wi-Fi that was actually the issue or the problem, not realizing that it was actually bigger than that. So it is possible that, it was a configuration issue. It's also worrying that it could also most probably be hacking, because, lately a lot of these companies, these internet companies are being targeted. So it's possible that, we can give Zuckerberg and the Facebook company the benefit of the doubt for now.
So I know it's a bit early to be talking about numbers and the extent to which these three platforms were affected, but have you got any early data that has come through?
I don't necessarily have early data, but it was 3.5 billion users that were affected, plus minus, by the outage of the Facebook, the Instagram, and the WhatsApp. So you saw a large chunk of those numbers going onto Twitter. There was also some reports that Twitter skyrocketed in terms of user numbers. Even the other messenger apps that I mentioned earlier, such as Signal and Messenger, that were used Telegram instead of WhatsApp. Because another thing, Desiree, a lot of companies since the lockdown began have been using WhatsApp as a means of communication, since a lot of people have been working remotely. So that was adversely affected yesterday from around 5 p.m. on towards midnight. So that's why a lot of people then were just rushing to find other alternative messenger apps that they could use. So I think it will affect Facebook in the long run, where people will not necessarily be trusting with the stability of having Facebook and just having WhatsApp and just having Instagram. People will want to have alternatives onto their phones, and some have already downloaded those alternatives onto their phones.
Just on that point about companies that operate mostly online being affected, tell us about your work as SABC News Digital. How was your work impacted? Was there anything that had to be halted as a result? Or as you say, you just swiftly moved on to YouTube and Twitter?
So what happened is at least the website was still operational. So production continued as usual, but instead of then having to have our posts immediately on Facebook and Instagram, what happened is that, we posted largely on Twitter, so that, people would still be aware of the stories that were being posted. And that's how also people were aware that there was an outage of Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And as per usual, YouTube was working, so we could upload videos, our normal packages, news packages, interviews onto YouTube, where people could also see the interviews that were being held yesterday about the outage and other stories that were developing. So production was not really hampered in a big way. Production, we continued, Desiree. It's just that there was a delay, obviously, with posts that had to go onto Instagram and Facebook.
And of course, as a result, there was a lot of humor on social media. Busi, what were some of the most humorous posts that you saw coming out of this debacle?
Yes, there was a humorous one by Twitter that said, "Hello, everybody." This, just pointing to welcoming everyone who was coming onto the Twitter app. There were also interesting ones, like people saying, "Oh, there it is. Hello, literally everyone." And there were also interesting ones where people were saying, instead of focusing on WhatsApp, they were doing other things. Real talk, Jeff, saying many of us were hopelessly looking every 2 minutes to check on Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp app. Some were even thinking maybe people were ignoring them. Kristen, like other ones, were saying, they're fine with this. This is okay. They can live without WhatsApp and Instagram. But other people, it just showed, Desiree, that people are very reliant on these apps. People are reliant on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. They use it in their daily lives. Other people were saying, they took the time to communicate with their families. Some were even saying they finally used SMS, and some were actually phoning their relatives and phoning their loved ones while there was this global outage of these apps.
Clearly an event that will have us talking for quite a while to come. Busi Radebe, thank you so much for making the time to speak to us. Busi is a senior producer at SABC News Digital. We're also inviting you to call us in 084-8133-465 or talk to us at the agenda _SABC. In fact, let's take a look at some of the tweets that